Robert Kiyosaki is an American businessman and author. Kiyosaki is the founder of Rich Global, LLC and the Rich Dad Company. He has been following the silver market for decades. This is what he says.
When I was 10 years old, my rich dad played Monopoly with me. And we all know the formula, 4 greenhouses, 1031 tax-deferred exchange. So today I own about 12,000 rental units, but it's not the story. The real story is, how did I acquire those property? I used debt. And that's what they don't teach you in school. You see, the more debt I use, the more property I own, the less tax I pay. And if you think paying taxes is legal, tax is a Marxist idea. Please, I hate this. And people say, well, you should pay taxes. No, we shouldn't. What Marx says is that a progressive and oppressive income tax is essential for the spread of Marxism, communism. That was in 1848. America was founded, let's look at the facts. This is what pisses me off about academic types. The facts are America was founded as a tax-free nation. It was called the Boston Tea Party. I think it was 1773. And we were tax-free for all of these years until 1913 when the Fed was created. In 1913, the Fed was created. The same year, guess what else was created? The IRS, Amendment 16. And ever since then, we're paying taxes. So guys like me pay no taxes legally. But the more harder you work, the more money you make, the higher taxes you pay. If that's not communism, what is? And I think it's an American duty not to pay our taxes. Because if you read the Communist Manifesto, you'd understand why.
You're currently $600 million in debt, no?
1.2 billion.
1.2 billion, okay.
I tell you what, again, I measure in my wealth. If I stop working, how much money comes in? Well, I've stopped working a long time ago.
Yeah.
And the money keeps increasing. And the reason I talk about debt is because in 1971, when I was in Vietnam, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard.
Right.
They don't tell you that, and the money became debt. And so then these communist school teachers tell you to get out of debt, like what's his name, Dave Ramsey and all that, live debt free. And that's good advice for the average person because debt will kill you. But debt is money today. And so when I acquire an asset, I use debt. So what happens is I make money in let's say my business, book sales. At that point, let's say I make $1 million in books. What I have to borrow is like 10 million in debt to buy a property. And because I borrowed the 10 million, I buy a property. And let's say the property is I buy 10 million, it's now $100 million. And all this stuff is the magic called financing. I pay no taxes. Mm-hmm. So the more debt I have and the more property I buy, the less tax I pay. It's called appreciation, depreciation, amortization. If you studied accounting, that's what you would learn. But most of these academic types live debt-free, and they own a house they call an asset, and they drive their Lexus or their Toyota, and they wonder, what's wrong with me? But they never studied money in school.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I use debt as money. Okay, but I only use debt to buy assets. A lot of people use debt to buy liabilities. So I drive a Ferrari. Guess what? It's paid off 100% because it's a liability. I drive a Rolls Royce. It's paid off 100% because it's a liability. Now, so I use debt as money and I don't save cash because in 1971, the dollar became debt. Tricky Dick Nixon took us off the gold standard. So at that point, I save gold. So all the money I make, if I buy something with debt, so that's $1.2 billion in debt, because if I go bust, the bank goes bust. not my problem. You know what I mean? And all the cash I make is I convert to silver and gold. And pretty soon it got to be a big problem, which is why I own Bitcoin also. Because I just don't trust the frickin' dollar. I don't trust the Fed. I don't trust the Treasury. And I don't trust Biden. Do you know what I mean? I just don't trust those guys. You want to trust them? Knock yourself out. But anyway, so I saved gold and silver. Then it got to be a problem. Because over these, like since 1971, 73, I've been buying gold and silver. You know, and it gets to be a problem. And then what happened in 1933, if you know history, is FDR confiscated gold. So can he do it again? Possibly. Not him, but you know, Biden could. So I don't keep my gold inside this country legally. I use the words legal. I hire attorneys and all that because I don't want to go to jail and dance to hula for some boy. You know what I mean? I'm not into this transsexual stuff. I don't want to go to jail and spend time with boys. So that's why I get my gold and silver outside this country legally. Everything is done legally. I hire the best accountants, the best attorneys. But I'm saying without you hitting on it, I don't save cash. I use debt. And when I use debt, I save gold and silver. Well, I don't know if you just read Buffett's last report. He says, what's happening to our CEOs? They're lying. Why would I trust a CEO, which I don't trust them anyway? So just look at his last report. And he says our CEOs are lying. Another thing that's happening, just FYI, is the Fed is printing all this money, but also what happened is the FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, is now terrified there's going to be a run on the banks. In other words, people are so, this is 2023, they're so afraid that there's not enough money, they're going to start yanking the monies out of the banks. So at that point, watch what happens. Look at the stock market is crashing like a rock today. You know, there's three basic asset classes. Just look at the facts. Don't listen to me. Stock market is going down, real estate's going down, and cash is going down. Just look at the facts. Don't listen to me. And so this here is a 1964 silver dollars, Kennedy on it. 1964, it was a guy named, Johnson, I think, took silver out of these coins here. So this little silver coin today is worth $10. I can go to any coin dealer and change it for $10. So F you, Buffett. You know what I mean? He's good at stocks. No, I mean, he's a very smart guy. He's a multi-billionaire, but he didn't invest his money. He invests your money. I don't need to trust Buffett. That's all I'm saying. I trust me. And if you don't trust you, give it to Buffett. So we won't pay any taxes at death either. So it's death taxes. Middle class pays taxes. I don't pay taxes. So right now our money is stashed and it's called the CRTs, Charitable Remainder Trusts. And when, you know, I'm 10 years older than my wife, and when she passes, all of that will go to probably what's called the Rich Dad Foundation or something. So it'll go on for perpetuity. Like I said that earlier. We have a plan for our money all the way through, and our job is not to make sure the Internal Revenue Service doesn't get it.